everybody. Welcome to the next episode of Madeleine Interviews Artists. I am joined today with an up and coming rapper. His name is Nolan Lewis. We have been TikTok friends for quite a while now. Yeah, it's so lovely to just actually get the chance to chat to you. So, for anyone who doesn't know your music style, know your aesthetic, how would you describe Nolan Lewis?
That's a great and really complex question, actually. But firstly, thank you for having me. Whenever people ask me what my style is, I just default to saying at its core, it's pop rap. But there was a year when I would say like it's hyper in parentheses pop rap, and then I would be like, no, it's alternative rap, or I guess I do R&B sometimes. But I guess that kind of all mellows out into like alternative rap, just because I have started singing a lot more recently and trying to put that back into my music. So for the time being, subject to change. But right now I'll say alternative rap.
It's definitely hard to put your music into a box because I mean your discography is huge now. You've
Mhm.
released so much and there's so much variation, which is wonderful from a
Thank
listening
you.
point of view. But I'd say the through line, as a listener, is your storytelling and your lyrics. I do feel
Mhm.
like the lyrics and the vocals, they always take center stage in your songs. Yeah, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I definitely, because it's interesting because I now feel like my lyrics and storytelling in that regard, like I need to bring that up and make them more robust to match my instrumental production. But back in the day, definitely, it was, yeah, the lyrics were much more prominent and much stronger just because I was still learning how to produce music. But I mean, like being in school, we're writing all the time. And especially in like middle school English class, a lot of it is like writing poetry and you're learning about Shakespeare and people like that. So I already had those like lyrical prerequisites. It's interesting that nowadays I feel like it's kind of starting to become the opposite. I'm not sure why, but yeah.
So talk to me
Mm.
about your creative process then, how you make a song, from beginning to end. What is your process like? Is it
Yes.
a set structure or is it just a complete free-flowing thing?
I feel like it does have structure. I'm pretty organized, I like to think. I'm like the G-Cal friend and the one who's like makes us think about punctuality and stuff. So I try to apply that to the creative process too. More often than not, I'll start off with an instrumental that I make. It has no purpose. I'm not trying to make a specific type of song. I guess that's where like the just the like creative flow part comes in. But I will just make some kind of instrumental or beat. It'll sit for a while, and maybe if I'm feeling extra inspired in the moment, then I'll start writing something on top of it. That may not necessarily be what stays. In the beginning, I definitely just like was releasing demos as like the official tracks, just because I was like 14. So I mean, I wasn't really engaged with the like the in-depth process of going back and seeing what can be changed. I also didn't have a team, so there was no one to really compare it to or show it to and have them compare it with other tracks that they had heard. But yeah, I'll make a beat, write something to it. That writing will not be done in one sitting, of course. Sometimes maybe if I'm feeling like really, really inspired, but normally it takes a while for me to actually make a full song. Sometimes I'll take pieces and use them on other songs because I think that they fit that area better. But eventually it'll become whole somehow. Then it's just from there it's like the classic. I export them to stems and then mix them and then master them and then it's the more like menial labor aspect of it. Yeah, recently I have kind of been working on like dismantling my demo-itis, which if anyone doesn't know, um if you I'm sure if you're active on the internet, you may have seen a clip of Chapo Roan on Las Culturistas talking about demo-itis, which is not a new concept. Like if you make it a song in its original form, you show it to all your friends, and then you go back and work on it, as most musicians do, and then you show it to your friends again, and they're basically like, "Huh, I preferred the original version. I think that that was better because we attach so much emotion to the very first version of what we put out, or not even what we put out. The first version is just what we created. I'm really working on not doing that this time around, as I work on new music because the emotions and memories that are attached to original versions can, in some cases, weaken them. In some cases, it was great from the beginning, and any version that you make is going to be great. So I've really been working on just like writing lyrics and then not being afraid to go back and change them to make them more general or make them more specific. My instrumentals now, it used to be I would just make everything entirely on my computer, maybe like some slight help from instrumentalists. But this time, I'm like, half of these are going to get replaced with actual instruments. I'm not just going to use the MIDI keyboard. So, kind of forcing myself to, yeah, to not fall into demo-itis by purposefully making framework demos or like work in progress demos. I don't want to say bad because they're not bad, but like, but yeah, ones that have like more crystallization to do.
I think that really encapsulates not an issue, but just a sort of a part of being an independent artist that because you wear all the hats, you wear the
Hmm.
producer hat, you wear the engineer hat, and you wear the songwriter hat, it can be really, really hard sometimes when you just get lost in your own songs. You sometimes need a little bit of perspective, which I feel like from what it sounds like you're really sort of stepping into that. Yeah, not getting too absorbed in your perfectionism.
Yeah, that's exactly a good way to put it. Yeah, it's perfectionism. That's honestly just what it is. Not even demo-itis. On that note of getting more perspectives, I've been having a lot of friends over just for the sole, well, not for the sole purpose, but like if you hang out for your friends or hang out with your friends for a long time and it just starts getting like low energy and everything, then I'll just be like, "Do you want to hear the new music I'm working on?" And one of my friends just randomly texted me the other day because he had just finished up at the gym and I had just happened to be done at work. And he was like, "Do you want to just like grab dinner? Like, I just want to hang out." And then I was like, "Sure." After that, do you want to come over and listen to new music? Like, but it's really helpful to get because I don't remember who I heard it from. It's very important to ask your friends or like anyone you can, but like people, obviously you have easier access to your friends to show them music because it's just they are just consumers, especially your friends who are not musically inclined. I think that's an important part. Like I've been asking my friends who are artistic but they don't make music, they've never written a song, and they are like purely are just consumers of music. It's been positive. I will say the con of that is they don't have notes for you. So then sometimes you have to tap your musically inclined friends, and they will actually give you advice just to know at least like there's a baseline approval and baseline positive reception of what you're making rather than getting stuck in the original version. Then it's like, okay, I'm on the right track and I can keep going forward with this idea because someone likes it when it's just in this like fetal form.
Have there
Yeah.
been any examples where you've shown it to friends and they've suggested something or you really altered something as a result of their feedback?
Yes, okay. This is a major NL10 spoiler. But so I had made the when I had finished Can't Afford Scare, released that, and then I took the tiniest break ever and then got back to writing music as graduation was coming up. Then I wrote a song and I was like, I think another album era is coming. So then it's been like 4 months. I showed my friend that first song that I wrote. I was gonna say this is a rare case where actually someone who does not make music did give me advice because she does give me like advice on how she thinks it could be better because she
Ah.
is really confident in like my music and like wants it to be the best it can because she's also a perfectionist. But she was like, I think, or I told her as like a disclaimer, I was like, this is definitely going to be the first track, the intro track. And we were listening to it, and she was like, I think this should be the outro. I don't know. It's something about it that
Ah.
it's giving like the last track to me. And as she said that, I was hearing the song and I was like, you're kind of right. But the way it's written, that it doesn't entirely make sense. So like put it as the last track. And she was like, well, you could split it in half and make it into an intro and outro, and
Ah.
then everything loops. And I was like, okay, wait, I think actually you might be onto something. So I'll try it. And then I'll like let you know what I did. And then cut to probably 2, 3 days later, I texted her like, that was genius. Thank you so much for like that advice because that was exactly what it needed. It was partially because I have with like Can't Afford to Care, I had that like glitching motif in my marketing for it. I had brought that back with this intro track. When I cut it in half, I have filters on it that makes it sound a little bit glitchy and 8-bit crushy. But when I cut it in half and like moved the other part and there was just silence, it naturally created like a glitching sound with the bit crusher from just like the leftover reverb and stuff. And I was like, yeah, that's perfect. Like that's exactly what I need to hear with this. Or like that's how this intro part should end. So yeah, that's a pretty recent example actually, because I had written the song in April, probably made it around that time too. It was just sitting writing. And then she, a week or two ago, was when she heard it. And then, yeah, told me about it. So very grateful for that note.
That's such a good lesson, to anyone that's listening. Check your music with consumers of music because
Hmm.
even though they don't make music, they still get the gut instinct. And at the end of the day, they're going to be the ones, purchasing your music,
Yes.
consuming your music and buying into you. So I think that is a great lesson. I'd really love to talk about your production process. How do you start? What are when you've got your DAW open,
Mhm.
you start with the drum beat, you start with some synths. Yeah, what's that process like?
Let's see if I can do it chronologically. Okay, well, so I've been producing since I was 12. So it's been a decade now, which is crazy. When I was 12, it was like the very first song I made, I started with like synths. Obviously they were like Apple loops, but I started with like melodies, and then went in with the drums. Same thing for 13, the song I made when I was 13. When I was 14, I was like, I'm actually a little dissatisfied. So I just my first EP was just beats that I bought. So I had like taken a break from producing. And then when I got back into it, I actually did a 180 and started with drums a lot more, just because I was like, drums are easier for me to produce. But yeah, and then it kind of like it waxed and waned throughout the years that followed. But now currently, I am kind of back to my first like version of producing where I will start with melodies or whatever is going to, because I feel like depending on the song, it's either like the melody, the lead synth, whatever, or the drum is the one that's like defining it or has more power. So it kind of it varies by track actually, because some of them I've started with the drums and then go add underneath that, because it's all just about how it makes me feel on the first listen when I make it, or if it's something that I find on Splice or something. Which also, side note, I've been saying this a lot. Maturing is realizing every producer uses Splice. I always felt so embarrassed about like using loops and things like that. And especially this year, I've seen so many, or this year and last year, I've seen so many songs that people are finding the loops like for on Splice, like Espresso, Shower Song by Tierra Whack, Get It Till I'm Gone by Flo. I thought they sang that intro part before the beat came in. That's a loop on Splice. And I found out through my own, like just going through sounds that I had saved. Gnarly has the kick, the dun 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 dun. That's a loop. Like, so please don't feel ashamed to be using loops, you guys. But that being said, yeah, it's kind of a mix based on like what I'm feeling, or if it's something I find, it's like what I'm feeling from what I hear upon first listen. Like it's all over the place, and yet it's still calculated, I guess. Once I like get things down with like the arrangement, I always, this is the one consistent thing. I will always have like a 4 or 8 bar loop and then just build on top of it. So like my DAW is Logic. So I have like, it'll be like a green or blue MIDI or audio file that I found, then a bunch of green under it of what I built. And then I'll be like, okay, that's like the chorus section is all of these things that I just stacked. And then I'll duplicate them and drag them to where they need to be. And then I'm like, okay, that's the arrangement of the song. And sometimes it'll change and I'll like and delete a few things or add some new things or like create pockets of silence and yeah, like make it more intricate. But I'll have like the basic arrangement done when I like sit down to make a song.
Do you tend to start with the chorus then?
Only in producing, not with writing. I tend to write in order, I think. I do like to do songs where I'm singing the first verse and rapping the second verse. I think I attribute that to this one over here, to Say So. Because I was like, that's a really strong, or that song is just a really strong way to showcase like versatility. I was like, yeah, I think that I was already doing that, but that kind of gave me like a bit more of a push to do it more. So sometimes I'll end up writing the second verse first. Yeah, when it comes to producing, yeah, it normally like probably like 95% of the time, I'm making that chorus stack and then making it into the more like subtle verse version or sections.
Do you have any tips for anyone that's listening of sort of how to get into music production, or what are kind of the first steps that you take to
Mhm.
make your own music? Because one of the things I really want to do with my page is try and get more people from underrepresented backgrounds into music production because it's so white male dominated. And I feel like there is a
Mhm.
bit of an assumption sometimes that those are like white male spaces. So, yeah, do you have any sort of tips that you'd give to people about, the fact that it's super, super easy to get going with music
Yes.
production.
Especially today, you don't need to have a computer, depending on the context that you're in. Like a phone is probably the bare minimum, or someone else recording you. But yeah, with services like BandLab, or even just like the voice memos or whatever audio recording functions on your phone, it's easy to just get your ideas down. That's what's most important. For my specific story, I'm glad that I have one, because it's so often where people are just like, just do it. Like just start. And then, but no, I have I started by recreating instrumentals of songs that I liked. I'm pretty sure that YouTube channel is still up. I haven't posted on it in a while,
Oh,
but I remember I made In My Head by Ariana Grande. I remade the instrumental. Like I hopped on that very quickly. It got like 64,000 views because I was like
oh,
one of the first people to do it. And it was like it's like fine. It's almost like the bridge section where the sample gets like pitched up an octave. That was like a little weak, but I did it anyway. And people liked it. I'm sure someone used it. I was doing Ariana Grande songs. I was doing Tierra Whack songs. I was doing multiple Tierra Whack songs. She was the main person I was recreating. Then I would like recreate it and then kind of analyze like the differences between like verse section and chorus section. That like foundational knowledge just like stuck with me as I kept going. And it was funny because then when I when I did release my first like EP, and a few songs after that, I remember I was in the car with my cousin, and I think my aunt just like played it just like to be supportive. Whatever. I don't remember how it came up. He might have just thought it to himself, but he was like, "You kind of oh, I know what it was. Tierra Whack was on the playlist," and my cousin was like, "This kind of sounds like you," and I was like, "Oh, that's all I've wanted to hear." Like, um, yeah, I think I was probably like 16 because I got into her when I was 13, 14. Like an exact example of how like the knowledge is actually applied, and like there is some result. Like it's going to feel kind of monotonous for a little bit, especially if you're doing it by yourself and you don't really have a team or anyone to compare it to, and you're just putting out stuff into the world. But that's also exactly what you should be doing. Tyler the Creator says it a lot. His new recent campaign with Instagram, that's about just being creative. And I get videos on like my social media algorithms all the time that are like creative motivation, that are like, just I will say, as much as people say just do it, it's annoying when you're talking about like how to get started with something, but then once you are in
yeah.
it, just do it. Like keep doing it and putting out all of the art, because there truly is something for everybody. At least one person is going to love it. And like you're making something that appeals to some group out there. It just gives you, especially if you are independent, it gives you direct feedback if people are willing to actually engage with the content. I don't even remember when I started getting engagement. I've just because I've been putting out stuff for so long, especially the remixes that used to be only on YouTube, and that was just like a constant stream of engagement. So it all yeah, it there is it nothing it's only helpful to just do it.
So, what has your releasing journey been like then? Because, as you said, you've been releasing for a while, and I remember coming across you on TikTok years ago
Yeah.
now. And yeah, so what has that whole release journey been like?
When I was 8, I wrote my first song that never happened. And it was kind of like I wanted to start a rock band when I was 8.
Oh,
I was in third grade. And yeah, so I wrote like, it was like not age appropriate. Like it was dark and like, and so, and my mom was like, "Oh my gosh," or not even my mom, my teacher or advisor, whatever term, told my mom. And then so I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna not like let me back off." And then when I was 12, I I got back into writing music because Grace Vanderwall was on The Voice at the time. I'm pretty sure she was 12. I was like, okay, this is someone in my age group doing very well, writing songs, but okay, I'm gonna do it again. So I released my first song, and funnily enough, my mom was the one who like ushered in that era, because for my 12th birthday, which is why it's so easy to remember how long I've been making music, because it was on my birthday, she took me to a studio to record the song.
oh Wow.
with like an actual engineer. Like it was, and now that I like work in the studio, I realize like she did it with Groupon, and I was like, yeah, that was a great idea because it's expensive.
Oh,
Um,
no.
and I was, of course, being so impatient because I had no idea how that process worked. But then it was done. Obviously, it sounded fine. But then, literally every year after that, I have put out something. So I was 13, I put out another single. Then that was two songs total. And then when I was 14, I did my first EP. I started doing albums every year after that. So basically, like every school year, I would put out something because I would be working on it over the summer, and then I put it out in the fall. At a certain point, trying to remember like when some sort of shift happened. I guess when I was, oh, I don't remember how old I was. Okay, let's see. First EP at 14, 15, 16, 17. Yeah, because it was before college. So I was like 17, and that was when I started to do more, or yeah, 16, 17, I was doing like creative direction, mixing that into it with like visuals and stuff. Just because I always thought that visuals were important because I couldn't like afford to do music videos, or I didn't have the resources for music videos. I was like, at least my album art and just like that will all look very visually appealing. And then I did make a music video when I was like 17, 18. That's still on YouTube for New Dawn, New Day, New Age. That was, I think something shifted there where I was like getting more serious. And then the album or Euphemism right before I went to college, or that in that like intermediate period. Then once I got to college, that's when everything kind of ramped up. I had also been releasing little singles. And I think prior to that point, oh wait, yeah, with New Dawn, New Day, New Age, that was my first time like dropping a single and then an album. But I was about to say I'd never done that up to that point. But I had been like experimenting more with like rollouts. I continued making an album every year. Yeah, that's been like the consistent thing. So yeah, that's why I'm on working on number 10 right now. Yeah, and then doing like little singles in between and like EPs. I mean, last year was kind of an overload because I had released Negative Space. I had also done Do Your Eyeballs Ever Feel Warm, that little EP from spring break. I had done some singles and like remix and released all the instrumentals of Negative Space, and then Can't Afford to Care. It was like all I didn't realize like I probably like from Negative Space to Can't Afford to Care was like 6 months, I think. Which I kind of like unintentionally did. So then I was like, okay, I need to take a second and calm down. I was thinking about taking a break and focusing on the music that I had already released, and because it's been so much. And I think I had been working on new music to try and push through instead of like focusing on highlighting what I already had out. So it was like the growth was more stagnant than it could have been. And yet here I am working on my 10th album. So you can't keep me away. I think also because it's like they say like with creative pursuits, especially music, like it takes a decade for it to actually like gain traction and pop off. And so I think I was like feeling that drive, just like keep going with it. Like long story short, I've released something every year.
That's a hard line to balance as well, definitely, as an independent artist. Are you independent?
Yes, yes, proudly.
Yeah. It's
Although
hard.
if anyone wants me.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a hard balance pursuing your creativity and getting all the music that you want to make out because that's ultimately why you're doing music because you love it
Hmm.
and you just adore writing and releasing versus the content game, which just is a must nowadays to
Yes.
any kind of audience, which is on the one hand so exhausting because all you want to be doing is spending your time making music, but
Hmm.
you can't make the music if you're not building up the audience from
Exactly.
the content.
Sometimes I'll be like, I really wish I could be doing this like in the 90s or something, because then I know it would like not even having social media, I know it would be immediate hit. Like, and it would like just doing live shows and like really organically gaining a fan base. Like back when people have to like music releases and you go down to your local store and go buy it. And like that, yeah, that era is like where everyone is putting in a decent amount of work to create and support your favorite creatives. Like it's a lot easier to do it now, so it's kind of like lazier, I get. Or like if you don't like somebody like I mean it happens to me. Someone drops and I don't listen to it for a while because I'm like, well, it's just on my phone. Like so I'll get around to it. Like I didn't listen to Virgin probably until like 3 weeks after it came out, by Lord. They're like, I'll see like everyone is dropping new music and I probably haven't listened to some. I've probably forgotten about something by now. So I'm really really trying to like make a point of listening when things come out because it is easier and yet it's become easier and harder for people at the same time. But yeah, it's I agree with the frustration definitely because we have both been on social media for a while.
And it can be really sort of mentally challenging as well to keep almost not the love for your music, but the kind of like, you're putting your heart and your soul into all of this music that you're making, and you're making the content, and the content is like so up and down with
Yes.
engagement. Like you on your page, you've had some videos like completely blow up as they should. And
Thank
then you've
you.
posted other videos like of the same quality and of the same artistic value, and they don't get the same.
Yes, it's
And
so interesting to see. Like I was actually a little bit like, all right, I guess not upset. I was surprised with I just did the I remixed every song from Don't Tap the Glass by Tyler the Creator. And I was saying to my housemates, like whenever he drops, I'm always excited for like the content cycle that I'm about to produce because everyone says I sound like him. So I do remixes and then everyone's like, oh my gosh, this like it always like gets traction. But I think for once on TikTok was where it performed the worst. It's always up in the air whenever I hit post. It's so interesting to because I think that I have a good grasp on like working with like the zeitgeist and what's happening now and what new release just came out. Like if I like it enough, then I will remix it. Like I do a lot of same day remixes. Yeah, for some reason like it's still always it's always a gamble every time. And I think everyone knows that. But it's so, and whenever someone comments like, "Oh my gosh, why hasn't this blown up? Like this deserves more," blah, blah, blah," I'm like, "Yeah, it's that there's one of those on every post." Like,
I've been there before.
yes.
Do you have any techniques that you use to sort of stay sane during this process, like to sort of help protect your
Mm.
mental health and just get, a break away from social media and a break away from music?
Yes. Yeah, I actually even though I post very frequently, I actually it's a lot of stuff that I have just like in drafts. So I'm not really posting in real time as much. So that's good. Like just again being like organized, prepared, etc. That helps me to actually have free time, especially with the creation of this new album. The reason I'm looking over there is because I made like a little manifestation wall.
Oh,
Because I saw with another artist I've been following for a while, like Tierwhack, is Raven Lene, and she recently just got in the top 10 after making music for 8 years, like almost a decade as well. She made a video where she was like, I just want to show everybody this. I like have a bunch of post-its and I wrote down like my manifestations for the album Bird's Eye and I like put them on my mirror in like my room. She was like, and here's this one that says Love Me Not Top 10. And so she's like, it's super like I've done that all the time. It's super important to me. Like, but it's working. Injecting more mindfulness into like my creative process has been very helpful and just reminding myself like doing all of this alone for so long is sometimes frustrating, but it is such a superpower and it's so cool. Like just if you tell a random person, not even a consumer of music, just like if someone just asks how you make music, how have you been doing it, and you say I've been doing it all by myself, and they listen to it and they're like, no way, this is all you like
yeah.
that feels so great. And just reminding myself, like, I got my tarot reading for the first time ever 2 days ago.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and I did ask like music career related stuff, and a very good point was this was one of the sessions where you have to draw 5 cards. And the fifth card represents like your inner child, and I drew the world. They were like, this is not only is this like the card that signifies like you're on the right path and everything, but just above all of that, your inner child is happy and proud of like this work that you're doing, and that's like that has been a very important thing to remember because I have always been telling myself when Turn the Tables hit like a 5-figure number of streams, I was like, oh my gosh, 12-year-old me seeing that or like hearing about that would like lose his mind. Um and or like being featured on a song that has a 6-figure number of streams. Like that he would lose his mind even more. That's like so I'm like everything reminding myself that there is constant growth happening, like just constantly reminding myself like that this is a fruitful path that I'm stepping towards. It's obviously not growing as fast as I would like because I am doing it all by myself, but that's also great to have like that control. I don't really do any like textbook techniques or anything when it comes to mindfulness, I guess. It's just yeah, it's like it's just constantly like affirming affirmations and manifestations are that's that's something that I do fairly often. Yeah, whenever I'm like in a funk.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And that's something that I think every creative needs to implement into their sort of day to day to not get so absorbed in all the streaming numbers and
Yes.
the like fluff around the music industry. Like it is at the core all about your creativity and just loving the music that you make.
Hmm.
To round off this wonderful interview, I feel like we've had
Yes.
such
Thank you.
beautiful insight into your mind and how you work. Is there a piece of advice or a parting sort of, yeah, piece of advice that you would give to anyone listening who is
Hmm.
on their music journey?
I normally am getting advice. I don't give advice a lot. I would say, especially if you're just starting, if you're listening and you've just started and this randomly came up in your YouTube recommended because you're just looking for advice from the universe on what to do. Keep going through your YouTube recommended, actually. That is how I have found just so much great music. That was how I found Chappell Roan before she blew up. I found a lot of artists in general, and how I take all of that, or how I took all of that. I guess I still take things. I'm still going through my YouTube recommended, but taking all of that and applying it to yourself, like it's okay to be a little repetitive and like remake things that you see on sites like YouTube or just on social media. Like it's great to like for that artistic history to repeat itself because it's repeating through you and you have your own unique way to be like a conduit for past work. Don't be afraid to be unoriginal, I guess, is like that's how that all can be like wrapped up. Because that's how you will eventually like find your own unique style. I began producing by literally remaking other people's songs. That's like extremely unoriginal to do. Now I can like I have a thought in my head, I make a voice memo, I airdrop it to my computer, and I can make it into a beat in like an hour or so. Like, yeah, don't be afraid to be unoriginal.
Oh, well, thank you so much. So,
Sure.
where can we all find Nolan Lewis on streaming platforms and social media?
Yes. So yeah, Nolan Lewis, just my government name on streaming platforms and on social media everywhere. It's at who is Nolan Lewis? Because one day we're not gonna ask that question anymore. So which is a new thing I came up with to say because I just did it because I saw other people doing it. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time. I feel like I've learned so much about
Yes.
you and your process. Everyone, please, please, please go and support Nolan. Like, if you are needing to add some songs to your Get Ready playlist, like they just make you feel like
Mhm.
such a bad bitch and like
Thank you.
conquer the world. They're honestly like amazing hype songs.
Yes, that's the goal. That's the goal, honestly, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Just like making people feel good.
You definitely, definitely achieve that. I have like a playlist on my phone that's like my just listen to when I do my makeup and stuff. And I
Hmm.
have so many
Oh,
Nolan
thank you.
songs on there. Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day because it's the morning there for you.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go thrifting because I need some performing clothes if I'm gonna start doing more shows.
Oh,
But
great.
yes, thank you.
No, thank you very much. And yeah, goodbye.
Yes, bye.